During a recent phone interview with the Fox Propaganda Network, Donald Trump said a number of unhinged things, including complain about the idea that a woman might vote for Kamala Harris without informing her Trump-supporting husband. And then he said that he would try to restrain himself so the Fox News host to whom he was speaking wouldn't get fired. Yikes. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, Donald Trump recently spoke with the Fox Propaganda Network this morning, as a matter of fact, with the weekend version of Fox and Friends, which is even more deranged than the weekday version, right? Imagine that. And he said a couple of weird and unhinged things that we got to talk about. I actually want to start with this one, too, because what he said was actually met with very nervous on-screen laughter from the Fox hosts to whom he was speaking.
And then we had an election that unfortunately didn't exactly go the right way, but that whole thing. I won't talk about it because I want you people to keep your jobs. Okay, people are so afraid. People are so afraid to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about an election, so I won't do it. You three guys, if you lost your jobs, I would be the most afraid. Can you imagine? Say I cost those three people their jobs. This is the worst. That would be the worst thing I think I've ever done in my entire life. Anyway, there aren't too many like you. We have to keep you around, so I won't talk about it. But look.
So, couple of things. Okay. Number one, let's go in reverse order. Donald Trump thinks that getting these Fox News hosts fired by talking about the debunked conspiracy theory and lie that the 2020 election was stolen from him, when in fact he just lost fair and square to a superior candidate, President Joe Biden, who won, again, fair and square. That would be the worst thing that Donald Trump ever did. It's ridiculous. Okay. He's done plenty of worse things, actually trying to steal that election, for example, and engaging in insurrection against the United States. One of the many, 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 many things that Donald Trump did, which was objectively worse. Number two, he's referring to the fact that Fox had to pay nearly $800 million to Dominion Voting Systems when Dominion sued them for defamation, because Fox knowingly signal boosted the lies of Donald Trump that the election was stolen and that Dominion Voting System was rigging the vote count in favor of Biden. Despite robust First Amendment protections here in the United States, they had to pay nearly $800 million because what we learned from the evidence in discovery was staggering. So many Fox News producers and personalities and hosts knew that the 2020 election was fairly won by President Biden, and that people saying otherwise were crazy or stupid or deranged or all the above. And yet they knowingly signal boosted these lies anyway. And so as a consequence, Fox forked over nearly $1 billion. That's a staggering example of media corruption and stupidity that we have just never seen on the so-called left. Okay. And number three, the other thing I want to point out, note how the Fox and Friends hosts, all of whom, by the way, are strident, open, enthusiastic Trump supporters in a way that, again, even the weekday Fox and Friends hosts are simply not. And they're in the bag for Trump too. But the weekend hosts are particular pro-Trump losers. Even they are like nervously laughing and not like responding and looking, because they also understand that there's a serious potential legal risk of this. And I should say, it's so bad. I just want to play this clip too, a 20-second clip of Harris Faulkner, another strident Trump supporter. And we mentioned this in a previous video. When Donald Trump recently gave remarks that Fox News was covering, and he went into the 2020 election conspiracy theories and lies, Harris Faulkner felt the need, presumably because Fox lawyers told her she needed to do it, to give a disclaimer.
Very beginning, you heard the former president talk about a stolen election. And while he may feel a certain way, the facts remain Joe Biden was declared the winner with 51% of the vote. States certified those results of the 2020 election, and Congress accepted those results. Now the nation is.
So again, Harris Faulkner, who is so pro-Trump, felt the need to throw that disclaimer in, presumably because of all the legal jeopardy that Fox News has been rightly put under because they signal boosted Donald Trump's lies. Another clip from this deranged phone interview was well-known philanderer, right? A guy who has repeatedly cheated on his spouses, including Melania, by the way, with porn star Stormy Daniels, essentially giving marriage advice and really upset about the prospect that there are women out there who may be married to Trump supporters, and that the wives would still go ahead and vote for Kamala Harris and may not even tell their husbands or implicitly get their permissions.
I'm so disappointed at Julia Roberts, because I look, and she's going to look back on that and she's going to cringe that, did I really say that? It doesn't say much for her relationship, but I'm sure she has a great relationship. But the wives and husbands, I don't think that's the way they deal. I mean, can you imagine a wife not telling a husband who she's voting for? Do you ever hear anything like that? Even if you have if you had a bad relationship, you're going to tell your husband, it's a ridiculous ad. It's so stupid. She's going to look back someday and say, did I really make that? They're into this thing. I'm so disappointed at Julia Roberts because I look.
Yeah. So what this is in response to is former First Lady Michelle Obama made a really powerful speech recently, and she directed it to men and women. But one of the things she ended on, and this is true, she told women out there, listen, if however you want to vote, you don't need to tell anybody about it. You are not obligated to tell anybody about it. And you don't need your spouse's permission or their knowledge to vote a certain way. And that's true. Husbands can vote however they want, regardless of what their spouse wants, vice versa with wives. Now, obviously, in a healthy marriage, one assumes you would take what your spouse wants into consideration. But, Republicans have really reacted terribly to this. Like Donald Trump is complaining about it. Charlie Kirk was frothing at the mouth. We did a video about this, about a recent pro Kamala Harris ad narrated by actress Julia Roberts. And the ad basically shows, it doesn't come out, they don't come out and say it, but a woman who intends to vote for Kamala Harris going into the polling place, and her, again, it's not stated, but implied pro-Trump overbearing husband, is like, make sure you make the right decision. And so she goes in and she locks eyes with another woman whose husband is also nearby, and they kind of give each other a knowing nod. And again, it's implied she votes for Kamala Harris. And as they leave, their husbands are like, did you vote the right way, honey? Did you make the right choice? And the wives say, yes, we did. And they walk out. The implication is, if you want to vote for Kamala Harris or anybody, you don't need your husband's knowledge or permission to do so. And again, that goes for husbands as well. And former First Lady Michelle Obama, I think, also made a very powerful case that you should be taking, if your spouse is potentially under threat from your preferred candidate, as many wives would be because of Donald Trump's disastrous policies with respect to abortion and reproductive rights, then if you love your spouse, you should probably vote accordingly, right? You probably shouldn't just disregard the fact that your preferred candidate is a threat to your spouse, the way that Trump is a threat to wives across this country. Again, a really compelling argument. But Donald Trump, a man who has repeatedly cheated on his wives and has mistreated them, is giving marriage advice about this. That's so horrible. Okay, Donald, I don't think you're really in a position to make that case. Some more unhinged comments from Donald Trump from this interview.
And so on behalf of the people, we sued 60 Minutes and CBS, and we think their license should be taken away. I think it's the greatest breach. I think it's the greatest insult to the American citizens. Think of it. They ask her a question during an election, right up to the election, and the question is that of a very stupid person. That was her answer. And it was so bad. And, they use the word salad. I hate it. I just don't think there's something about it. It's not good. It doesn't fit me. But I'll tell you, they call it word salad. It was just a series of words that weren't connected. And there was something wrong with her. And they saw that. And so what they did is they took it out and they put a different answer in, entirely different, okay? Which was a better answer, normal. In other words, this was not a great answer, but it was an answer at least. And they went with it. And
So that is Donald Trump, the leader of the pro-free speech party, a party that believes in freedom and liberty to say what you want and do whatever you want and screw those snowflakes who disagree. Well, he is filing a lawsuit against CBS for $10 billion because he believes they deceptively edited an interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. It's not even something, I don't even know if he has standing in this case. I imagine it's going to get laughed out of court because it wasn't, it's not like he was defamed. It's not like he was attacked. He believes that CBS and 60 Minutes, deceptively edited an interview with somebody who isn't him. And what's funny about that is he's saying this on Fox, and Media Matters and Mediaite, they've done reports on this. We did a video about this a couple of weeks ago. Fox News got busted for doing the same thing in the sense that they spliced certain footage for concision and time in a way which made Donald Trump's answer look better. Okay. This is common practice in the media business, right? They don't give the raw, unfiltered interview. Very rarely do they do that, CBS or Fox. But Donald Trump takes particular umbrage with CBS, even though he's done it with Fox multiple times. So the point of this isn't just that the lawsuit, I assume, is just going to be laughed out of court, but it's the censorious, vengeful instincts of Donald Trump. Donald Trump wants to pursue vengeance as the president of the United States against the media that he believes is insufficiently loyal. We see nothing like that. Nothing on the Democratic side. Joe Biden is the president of the United States. So how would Fox feel? Again, I use this example, so good. And I wish somebody would be able to make this case to Fox. Like, guys, listen, Fox, you had to pay nearly $800 million because you lied about the 2020 election. Joe Biden could conceivably say, that's a threat to democracy. It's not just that you lied, right? It's not like you lied about a particular story. You lied about something fundamental to this country, which is the election, the peaceful transfer of power. And you lied so badly that despite having all the odds in your favor legally because of First Amendment protections, you had to settle this defamation case and pay nearly $1 billion because you knew you'd probably get your ass kicked in court. That's how bad you lied. That's how much you screwed up. So for the sake of transparency, for the sake of democracy, I'm going to investigate you. I'm going to punish you. I'm going to use the powers of the federal government against you, Fox News, and see how you like it. Joe Biden could, I suppose, in theory, do what Donald Trump is threatening to do, but he hasn't. He hasn't done that. There's a staggering asymmetry here. Only the Republicans want to ruthlessly punish media they don't like and have threatened to do so. The Democrats have not. So again, the unhinged interview from Donald Trump, the election, but I'll say it's so funny because, we think about this. I'm going to play one more clip related to a recent controversy involving Liz Cheney.
And all I said is, let's see how she does. I said, put a gun in her hand and let her go out and let her face the enemy with a gun in her hand. And they'll have 9 people or 12 people or 100 people. I said, let's see how she stands up, because I say she wouldn't have the guts to do it. You have a lot. And
So Donald Trump talking once again about, Liz Cheney's life being in danger, put a gun in her hand, put her in an active war zone. I mean, there's been controversy about this. And listen, did Donald Trump in that specific example call for Liz Cheney's assassination or execution? No, he did not. But the reason that Trump is being called out for this is because he has a long and sordid history of proposing, military tribunals against Liz Cheney and calling for people to be charged with treason. And then he goes on to say, we used to punish that by death, right? He has a long and sordid and unique history of wishing violence and ill on his political opponents, which again, we don't see on the Democratic side. So it's fair that people don't give him the benefit of the doubt here. Just a genuinely unhinged interview, which again elicited at various points nervous laughter from the Fox News hosts who otherwise love and worship the man. And that should go to show you how far Donald Trump has gone. It's also important to remember he has basically a 50-50 chance of winning the presidency again. So if you're an eligible voter, please make a plan to vote. Many states still permit same-day voter registration. So in many cases, you have to look this up. You can go to your polling place, register to vote, and vote on the same day if you haven't done so yet, if you're not registered yet. And if we turn up and we turn out, we win this election. If we don't, he does. And you got to ask yourself, is that a risk you really want to take? Food for thought. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.